Class 10. Today I will start a new chapter on civics, which is power sharing. So we have completed the chapter federalism. Now we are moving to the next chapter, power sharing. So from this chapter, we would like to discuss the story of Belgium. We would like to discuss the case study of Belgium. Next, we would like to discuss the story of Sri Lanka and how the majoritarianism rule in Sri Lanka, how Belgium accommodate various people, why power sharing is desirable in any country, and what forms of power sharing are there. So we are moving forward with the story of Belgium. Belgium is a small country in Europe which has a population of a little over 1 crore. So it has a high populated country. The ethnic composition of this small country is very complex. So the ethnic composition means self identity. Ethnicity comes from the word self identity, which is very much complex in Belgium. Out of total population of the country, 59% lives in the Flemish region and speaks Dutch language. So maximum people lives in the Flemish region and they speak Dutch language. Another 40% people live in Wallonia region and speak French. So mainly people speak Dutch and French language. Remaining 1% of the Belgians speak German. So we can see that in Belgium, three language are mostly popular: Dutch, French, and German. In Belgium's capital, Brussels, 80% people speak French, while 20% are Dutch speaking. So, maximum people in Belgium's capital usually speak French language. The minority French speaking community was relatively rich and powerful. So, minority speaking are relatively more powerful in comparison to majoritarianism. So, minority is most important in Belgium and majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. This made Dutch-speaking community angry as they the benefit of economic development and education much later. So this made the Dutch-speaking community very angry because mainly people in the portion of minority section or in the majoritarian section of Belgium usually speak French. So the Dutch-speaking people feel very much angry as the benefit of the economic development and education much later. Say, the Dutch speaking people doesn't able to benefit from the economy and the education. During the 1950s and 1960s, tensions between the Dutch speaking and French speaking communities created due to these differences. So there is a barrier, there is a misunderstanding in between the Dutch speaking and the French speaking people in Belgium, and they are fighting among themselves in relation to economic and the educational development. Next, we are moving forward with the story of Sri Lanka. So, Sri Lanka is an island nation south of India, having diverse population of about 2 crore people. So, you can, if you comparison Belgium and Sri Lanka, you can see that Sri Lanka has more population in comparison to Belgium. The major social groups are Sinhala speaker 74% and Tamil speaker 18%. Like in Belgium, we can see that there are maximum people who usually speak French. So we can see also in Sri Lanka that maximum people are Sinhala speakers. Tamil are divided into two groups: Sri Lankan Tamil 13% and Indian Tamils 5%. Of course, we are talking about Sri Lanka. So Sri Lankan Tamils will be more in percentage in comparison to Indian Tamil. So you can see Sri Lankan Tamils are 13%. Who are Sri Lankan Tamils? Tamil natives of the country who usually live in the Sri Lanka, who usually speak Tamil as a language, are called Sri Lankan Tamils. Indian Tamils are consist of only 5% come from India during colonial period as plantation workers. Who are plantation workers? Those who move from one place to another and produce crops are called plantation workers, and they mainly come to Sri Lanka in order to grow crops, and they are only 5%. Most of the Sinhala speaking people are Buddhist. So, what is the religion who used to speak Sinhala language? Are mainly Buddhist. While most of the Tamils are Hindus or the Muslims. So, maximum Hindus and the Muslims or Indian people usually speak Tamils. Okay. there are about 7% Christians who are both Tamil and Sinhala. So we can see that in religious group, 7% usually speak both Tamil and Sinhala. The Tamil and Sinhala are the most important language which are being inculcated in the Sri Lanka. Okay. Next, we can see majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. Who are the majoritarian group usually live in Sri Lanka? The democratically elected government adopted a series of majoritarian policy measures to establish Sinhala supremacy. So, government want to create a Sinhala supremacy ruling power in Sri Lanka. These are Sinhala as the only official language. So, Sinhala should be used as the only official language in Sri Lanka. The government followed preferential policies that favored Sinhala applicants for university position and government job. So only people who can speak Sinhala as a language or Sinhali language, that people only get the opportunity to apply for the position of government job or university. This decision gradually increased the feeling of alienation among the Sri Lankan Tamils. So Sri Lankan Tamil feel very much inferior in front of the Sinhala, and they feel alienated in front of the Sinhala speaking people in Sri Lanka. The Sri Lankan Tamil launched parties and struggle for the recognition of the Tamil as an official language. So Sri Lankan Tamil launched parties and policies to struggle against their ruling authority, against their position, against their job opportunities, as they want that they should also get the same recognition, same position, same opportunity, same liberty, freedom from as the Sinhala, and the Tamil should be used as an official language for regional autonomy and equality of opportunity in securing education and jobs. So, in case of education and jobs, Sinhala speaking Sri Lankan people should give the same opportunity as the Tamil speaking people. So, Tamil usually followed up, launched a policy against this struggle so that they can get the same freedom as the Sinhala speaking Sri Lankan people. Next, we are moving to the next point. By 1980s, several political organizations were formed demanding an independent Tamil Elam state in northern and eastern part of Sri Lanka. It soon turned into a civil war. So we can see by 1980, several political organizations were formed. What they demand? They demand an independent Tamil state in northern and eastern part of Sri Lanka. So mainly we can see the northern and eastern part of Sri Lanka are dominated by the Tamil speaking people, and this create a barrier, this create a war in between the Tamil speaking people of Sri Lanka and the Sinhala speaking people of Sri Lanka. Now we can move again, goes to the Belgium portion, how the accommodation takes place in Belgium. Between 1970 and 1993, Belgium's constitution amended 4 times to work out an arrangement that would make everyone to live together. So people in Belgium try to accommodate every people to live together. The element of Belgian model include constitution prescribe that the number of Dutch and French speaking minister shall be equal in the central government. So Dutch and the French speaking are the two language mainly popular, including German also, but mainly people usually speak Dutch and French are mainly popular, and the government, the central government should give equal importance to both this language. Many power of the central government have been given to state government of the two region of the country. So the power has been transferred from the central government to the state government in order to look after the various region of the Belgium, where usually people speak both kind of language, including French and the Dutch. Okay, so moving forward to the next point, have two region of the country. Okay, see here, there is also a provision of community government elected by the people belong to any one language. So there should be a community government who will look after the people who speak mainly that language, community which has the power regarding cultural, educational, and language-related issues. So, in order to cope up with the language, cultural, and the educational problem, a government should be accommodated, a government should be appointed, a government should be elected to look after the people who belong to that language. Okay. Next, we are moving forward with the topic why power sharing is desirable? See, power sharing is needed because a person cannot run the whole country by itself. A person cannot rule self independently. Everybody is dependent on others. So power sharing is good because it helps to reduce the possibility of conflict between social groups. There is no conflict between any social groups. So if the power is shared in between the two groups equally. Power sharing is the very spirit of democracy. Without power sharing, there is no method of democratic form of government, because democracy is totally based on power sharing, in which we can see, and which already which we have studied, that there are two forms of government: central government and the state government. Okay. Next, a democratic rule involves sharing power with those affected by its exercise and who have to live with its effect. So we can see a democratic rule mainly involves sharing of the power. Without sharing of the power, democratic rule is unjustifiable. So in order to make it justifiable, in order to make a justice with the democracy, power should be shared. And this also affected the exercise of the power and its effect. So next we are discussing the forms of power sharing. What type of power sharing should be involved in a country? In modern democracy, power sharing arrangement can take many forms. So there are two forms. Horizontal distribution of power. First, we would like to discuss. Power is shared among different organs of the government. We all very much related with the term legislature, executive, and judiciary. These are three organs of the government. Is an example. Example is India. We can see how the legislature, executive, and judiciary function according to their own domain, but they are dependent on each other. How their powers is shared among themselves, how the legislature helps the executive to perform, to implement the law, and how this law has been adjudicated, and how the law has been reviewed by the judiciary, by the Supreme Court or the High Court in India. So next we would like to just see federal government, that is vertical distribution of power. What is that vertical distribution of the power? That means one cannot live single-handedly. One is always dependent on the other. So we can see also in the federal government in the last chapter that power is shared among the government at different level. A general government for the entire country, it is central government, and government at the provincial or regional level called state government. And this is an example of the USA. So we can see horizontal distribution of the power and vertical distribution of power. Horizontal distribution of the power means that the power is shared in between the three organs of the government, in between the three section of the government, in between the various people of the world. But that is an example of India. Without power sharing, it is not possible for the Indian government to run the country. And federal government, which is called vertical distribution of the power, in which we can also see that the power is distributed, but the power is distributed in a limited way, in a limited scope. Why? Because if the power is distributed unlimitedly, it is not possible to maintain the proper infrastructure administration of the country. So in a vertical power distribution, we can see that the power is shared among government at different level. Okay, so power may also be shared among different social groups, such as religious and linguistic groups. Example are community groups. We can see in Belgium also, and in various countries we can see, and in various community we can see the power is divided among linguistic, cultural, social groups, and this groups has a power, has a self identity, has a ethnicity to run, to maintain the cultural infrastructure of the country. So power sharing arrangement can also be seen in the way of political parties. We can see also that how the political parties share their power, share the responsibility, share their symbols, and share their ideology among different pressure groups and interest groups, and how they run the country, they influence the public opinion, and they carry out their power in different purpose. So this is the topic. This is very short chapter and very interesting, and if we compare the federalism and power sharing together, then it is very much fruitful for you to understand the term. So mainly the question which come from here is mainly what is the state religion of Sri Lanka, what is the language people used to speak in Sri Lanka, what is the difference in between the Belgian people and the Sri Lankan people, how the power is distributed, why power sharing is needed, what kind of power sharing is desirable, give an example of vertical and horizontal distribution of the power. Like this various question comes. This is a very short chapter. I have given a gist synopsis of this chapter, and if you look after the book thoroughly, then you understand it in detail. But if you have any doubt, you just come to me and share your problem. I would be grateful to solve your problem. So I've given here, see, I've given you 10, I have given you 10 question, and this 10 question will cover the whole chapter, and this chapter in gist and in synopsis is only this much. And this is very interesting and very small. Try to learn it very thoroughly and properly. Okay, thank you, class.